Chapter 3. Life of Prophet Muhammad. And the Birth of Jihad. I have been made victorious with terror. Prophet Muhammad, Bukhari 4:52:220. Muhammad is an exalted standard of human character. Allah, Quran 68:4, 33:21. Prophet Muhammad, believe many Muslims, was created by Allah prior to creating the universe for his eventual appearance on earth in the 7th century for preaching his null creed to humankind. According to a widely circulated tradition, when asked about the RST thing Allah created before all things, Prophet Muhammad answered, "The RST thing Allah created was the light of your Prophet from his light, the life of Prophet Muhammad, the highest possible perfection of human life, Insan Kamil, for all time, was full of virtues and devoid of any vices. He had all the good characteristics of a human being, be it in sexual morality or kindness in the highest possible degrees, while the bad characteristics, he had none or in the least possible degrees. He was infallible and sinless as Allah himself had consecrated him. Have we, Allah, not expanded for you, Muhammad, your breast, and taken from you your burden, sin?" Quran 94:12. He was the kindest, fairest, most just, most merciful, most generous and most honest, while he possessed no cruelty. I had at GF, the first thing that Allah created was my Nur, Living Islam website, http://www.livingislam.org/fiqhi/fiqh_e30.html. Or barbarity at all. Allah himself arms the saying, "And we, Allah, have not sent you, Muhammad, but as a mercy to the worlds." Quran 21:107. Prophet Muhammad himself had boasted of possessing the perfect moral character in saying, "I have been sent to perfect morals." Imam al-Ghazali, d. 1111, the great Islamic scholar and revivalist, considered the second greatest Muslim after Muhammad, considered the Prophet as the ideal, the perfect man par excellence, in all aspects of life. About the greatness of the Prophet's personal character, al-Ghazali wrote, "The Apostle always prayed in all humility to Allah for bestowing on him the highest moral qualities and a generous character. He was of exceeding humility and the greatest, the bravest, the justest, and the most pious of men. The high standard which the Prophet set in moral behavior as a citizen free or persecuted, as a husband, as a chief, and as a conqueror was never reached by any individual before or since. 2. Prophet Muhammad, therefore, was the greatest embodiment of good, justice and mercy to humankind. Whatever he did in his life was the best thing to do, howsoever way he dealt with people, Muslim or non-Muslim, was the fairest and most merciful." This chapter will deal with the life of Prophet Muhammad, particularly his dealing with non-Muslims, the idolaters, Jews, and Christians of Arabia, whom he had encountered in his life. It is needless to reiterate that Muslims indisputably believe that Muhammad's dealing with these people, recounted below, was absolutely fair, just and merciful in every respect. In this chapter, the doctrines of jihad in Islam, as revealed by Allah in the course of Muhammad's founding the Islamic creed, will be discussed in detail. Having gone through this chapter, readers will be able to grasp the true meaning of jihad as revealed by Allah and the ideal model of jihad in practice, which Prophet Muhammad had established in complete compliance with the commands of Allah. The birth and early life, c. 576-10. The Prophet of Islam was born in about 570 CE, c. 567-72, in the Arabian desert city of Mecca in a family of the Quraysh, the chief tribe of the city. Mecca was situated at a strategic location in the desert valley through which passed two major trades routes, one linked Himyar with Palestine and Syria, the other linked Yemen, the Persian Gulf and Iraq. Because of this strategic location, Mecca acted as the major transit point for trade caravans between the Indian Ocean, including East Africa, and the Mediterranean. Through Mecca were transported large quantities of merchandise to and from the Egyptian, Syrian, Roman, Byzantine, Persian, and Indian centers of trade. It was thus a bustling center of trade and commerce and a routine halting. To Umar Uddin M. 2003, The Ethical Philosophy of Al-Ghazali, Adam Publishers and Distributors, New Delhi, p. 66-67. Place for trade caravans to stock up supplies of water and other necessities. As a result, the two powers of the region, namely the Persian and Byzantium empires, sought to control Mecca through alliance with its leaders. Point 3. The first Quraysh to assume a position of importance in Mecca was a man by the name of Qusay bin Kilab. In about 450 CE, he, in alliance with tribes supported by the Byzantine emperor, deposed the reigning Qusay tribe and established the Quraysh leadership in Mecca. He instituted ordinances for the governance of Mecca and for the administration of the sacred temple of Kaaba. He is said to have rebuilt the Kaaba, the sacred house of God, long neglected by earlier administrators, on a grander scale, and instituted in it the goddesses of the Nabateans, known as Al-Lat, Al-Uwa and Al-Manat. These goddesses were known to be the daughters of God, Hubal or Allah, in pagan Arab tradition. Muhammad's parents used to face hardship in their day-to-day life. The death of his father Abdullah, when his mother Amina was 6 months pregnant with him, must have had aggravated the hardships. It was a tradition among the elites in Mecca, i.e., the Quraysh, to give away their children to paid foster mothers for nursing. Point 4. About 1 week old Muhammad was given to a Bedouin woman, named Halima, for which his mother could not pay the foster mother. V. Halima took Muhammad away to raise him alongside her own son of the same age. Halima brought 4-year-old Muhammad back to Mecca to meet his mother. Because Muhammad had allegedly brought good luck to his foster parents, they wanted to keep him with them until he became a big boy. Accordingly, they took him back with them. But surprisingly, Halima returned him to his mother Amina in Mecca when he was 5. While returning him, Halima allegedly told Amina a supernatural story that happened to Muhammad, whereby 2 men in white raiment came to Muhammad and threw him down and opened up his belly and searched something therein. 6. This event was later described by Allah as the consecration of Muhammad by wiping out his sins. Quran 94:1-2. To corroborate this claim, Muhammad allegedly returned with a new mark between his shoulder blades. This mark was later explained as his seal of prophethood. Sahih Bukhari 4:741, Tirmidhi 1524. Amina raised Muhammad with good care. Shortly afterwards, she brought Muhammad to Medina, 210 miles north of Mecca, about 10 to 12 days' journey. The Hazraj tribe in Medina was related to Muhammad through his great-grandmother belonging to that tribe. Unfortunately, his mother died on the way back to Mecca when Muhammad was only 6 years old. The orphan Muhammad was then raised first by his loving grandfather Abd al-Muttalib, after whose death by his uncle Abu Talib. However, he faced hard times. He took up the career of a shepherd at a tender age and used to spend lonely time grazing cattle. 3. Walker B. 2002, Foundations of Islam, Rupa and Co., New Delhi, p. 37. Formula W. 1894, The Life of Muhammad, London, p. 12930. Ibn Ishaq, The Life of Muhammad, Trs. A. Guillaume, Oxford University Press, Karachi, 2004. Imprint, p. 71. 6. Ibid, p. 71-72. Muhammad's marriage at the age of 25 with a 40-year-old wealthy businesswoman of Mecca, named Khadija, dramatically changed his fortune and greatly increased his social standing. Muhammad was at first employed by her to run her businesses. Soon, he is said to have impressed his employer by running the business profitably. Impressed by the young, intelligent, and able man, 15 years younger than her, Khadija proposed to marry him. 7. Khadija had an aging cousin, named Waraka bin Nawfal, a man of flexible faith, who, impressed by monotheism, had changed his faith first to Judaism and then to Christianity. 8. Nawfal was a Christian convert and used to read the Gospels in Arabic, says Ahadith Bukhari 4:605. Khadija, through her close interaction with Waraka, had also become influenced by monotheism, Christianity in particular. Muhammad, on his part, used to follow all the idolatrous rituals of the polytheistic religion of his Quraysh tribesmen. But after his marriage, which brought him in close contact with Waraka and Qadiyah, Muhammad abruptly stopped practicing paganism and became interested in the monotheistic Jewish and Christian theology. Soon after his marriage, Muhammad is said to have started spending certain period of the year in a cave in the Mount Hira near Mecca for meditation. This is the same cave in which his loving grandfather used to retire for meditation in the holy month of Ramadan. Such retirements to caves for meditation was a common practice amongst the Hanifs, a monotheistic sect of Mecca, see below. Islamic tradition says that Muhammad used to spend time in this cave meditating in the pursuit of God. After 15 years of meditation, Muhammad allegedly received revelation from God for preaching a new religion, Islam. This idea is similar to the Jewish tradition of Moses' meditation in a cave of Mount Sinai, where he had allegedly conversed with God, Jehovah/Yahweh. Muhammad was likely inspired by that story. There are also references in Islamic literatures informing us that Muhammad used to spend his time in the cave, not alone, but his wife Qadiyah and Waraka also sometimes joined him. Islamic literatures also inform that Muhammad, through Waraka's connection, often met with Jewish rabbis and Christian priests during the late period of his meditation and the early days of his prophetic mission. It is believed that Muhammad familiarized himself in the scriptures of the monotheistic Jewish and Christian theology during those years, often in the cave of Mount Hira, away from the public sight. The likely purpose of this was to prepare him for the mission of preaching the oneness of God of the Abrahamic faiths among the polytheistic idolaters of Mecca. It should be noted here that widowed Qadiyah was looking for an able agent to run her businesses. Her nephew, named Huzaima, once met Muhammad when he was on a business trip overseas with his uncle, Abul Talib. Huzaima spotted Muhammad's business talent, which he had mastered while accompanying his uncle's trade caravans to various destinations since the age of 12. Huzaima later introduced him to Qadiyah for employing him to run her businesses. 6 Ibn Ishaq, p. 83. Prophetic Mission in Mecca, 610-622. With this background and after 15 years of meditation in the cave of Mount Hira, Muhammad one day, aged 40, 610 CE, claimed that he had heard voices from the unseen instructing him in some messages. 9 The RST persons to believe him were his wife Qadiyah and Waraka, who persuaded an apparently confused Muhammad saying that God had talked to him through angel Gabriel to preach a new religion. According to a prophetic tradition, Waraka said to Muhammad, "That is the same angel whom Allah sent to Prophet Moses. Should I live till you receive the divine message, I will support you strongly." Bukhari 4:605. However, Waraka never embraced Islam and died as a Christian. Muhammad named his monotheistic god Allah the name of the chief pagan deity of Arabia which was also in general use in the region to denote God. For the first 3 years, Muhammad preached his alleged divine messages secretly to his close associates, friends, and family members before going public about his divine mission. His messages demanded that the Kaaba, considered the house of God in the local pagan tradition, was an exclusive sanctuary of his own God. He claimed that the Kaaba was founded by the Jewish patriarch Abraham and his son Ishmael, both considered highly respected prophets in Islam. He called his new creed the religion of Abraham and urged the Meccan polytheists to abandon their idolatry and follow his creed. Here is how Muhammad demanded that the pagans of Mecca follow his creed and claimed that the Kaaba belonged to his own God. And whoever shall invent a falsehood after that concerning Allah, such will be wrongdoers. Say, Allah speak truth. So follow the religion of Abraham, the upright. He was not of the idolaters. Lo. The first sanctuary, Kaaba, appointed for mankind was that at Mecca, a blessed place, a guidance to the peoples, wherein are plain memorials, of Allah's guidance, the place where Abraham stood up to pray, and whosoever entereth it is safe. And pilgrimage to the house is a duty unto Allah for mankind, for him who can find a way thither. As for him who disbelieveth, let him know that, lo, Allah is independent of all creatures. Quran 3:94-97. This naturally had caused unhappiness among the pious Quraysh of Mecca. The majority of them adamantly rejected Muhammad's religion. Neither did they hand over the custodianship of the Kaaba to him. After about 13 years of preaching in Mecca, Muhammad could only obtain a handful of converts, 100 to 150 in all, before he was allegedly driven out by the Quraysh and he took refuge in Medina in June 622. After securing himself in Medina, he undertook a ruthless mission to destroy the livelihood and religion of the Quraysh over the next 8 years. In 630, he conquered Mecca, took possession of the Kaaba, despoiled the idols therein, and eventually, forced the idolaters of Mecca to accept Islam on the pain of death. V. Ibid. p. 111. 6. Muhammad's father's name was Abdullah, meaning slave of Allah.